Throughout history, empires have risen and fallen. Nations have been conquered, borders redrawn, and entire civilizations erased from the map. But there are 5 countries on Earth today that stand as fortresses, nations so strategically positioned, so naturally defended, that invading them would be a military nightmare. Some have geography on their side. Others have turned their entire society into a weapon. And one has a defense strategy so terrifying, it makes even superpowers think twice. Let's explore why these 5 nations are virtually impossible to invade. Country number 1, Switzerland. The land of chocolate, watches, and one of the most paranoid defense systems ever created. You might think Switzerland's defense comes from neutrality. Wrong. It comes from being absolutely ready for war at any moment. Let's start with geography. Switzerland is 60% mountains, not rolling hills. We're talking about the Alps. Massive peaks, narrow valleys, and only a handful of entry points. Any invading army would be funneled into predictable routes, making them easy targets. But here's where it gets insane. Switzerland has rigged its own country to explode. Every major bridge, tunnel, and road leading into Switzerland is pre-planted with demolition charges. If invaded, they can blow these in minutes, turning their country into an isolated fortress. Over 3,000 points across Switzerland are ready to be destroyed at a moment's notice. Then there are the bunkers. Switzerland has enough nuclear fallout shelters to protect its entire population. But they're not just for nukes. They're military fortresses hidden inside mountains. Artillery positions disguised as barns and houses. Fake rocks that open up to reveal anti-aircraft guns. And the Swiss military? Every able-bodied male serves and keeps their rifle at home after service. Switzerland has one of the highest gun ownership rates in the world. An invasion wouldn't just face the military. It would face millions of trained civilians defending their homes and terrain they know intimately. Napoleon knew this. Hitler knew this. That's why Switzerland has remained unconquered for over 500 years. Trying to invade Switzerland isn't just difficult. It's a logistical suicide mission. Country number 2, Russia. The graveyard of empires. Russia is the largest country on Earth, over 6.6 million square miles. To put that in perspective, you could fit the entire United States inside Russia with room to spare. And that size is its greatest weapon. Napoleon learned this the hard way in 1812. He marched 600,000 men into Russia, the largest army Europe had ever seen. Russia's response? They retreated, burned their own cities, destroyed their own crops, and let the Russian winter do the rest. By the time Napoleon reached Moscow, it was an empty, burning shell. His army froze and starved on the retreat. Of those 600,000 men, fewer than 100,000 made it back. Hitler tried the same thing in 1941. Operation Barbarossa, the largest invasion in history. 4 million Nazi troops pushed deep into Soviet territory. And just like Napoleon, they faced the same nightmare. Endless space, brutal winters, and scorched earth tactics. Here's the problem with invading Russia. Supply lines. The deeper you push, the longer your supply chain becomes. Russian forces retreat, destroying infrastructure as they go. Your army has to carry everything across thousands of miles of hostile territory, while Russian forces pick you apart today. Russia has another trump card, the world's largest nuclear arsenal. Any invasion would trigger immediate nuclear retaliation. But even without nukes, the lesson is clear. Russia's size, climate, and willingness to sacrifice its own territory make it unconquerable. Space and winter are Russia's ultimate weapons. And history proves they work. Country number 3, now let's talk about Japan. An island nation that has only been successfully invaded once in its entire history, and that took 2 atomic bombs. Japan is an archipelago of over 6,800 islands stretching across 1,200 miles. To invade Japan, you need naval superiority, air superiority, and the ability to conduct one of the most complex military operations imaginable, an amphibious assault. During World War II, the United States tried, even with total naval and air dominance. It took 4 years of brutal island hopping campaigns. Battles like Iwo Jima and Okinawa showed just how fanatically Japan would defend its homeland. The U.S. military estimated that invading mainland Japan would cost over 1 million Allied casualties. The Japanese were preparing every civilian to fight. Men, women, even children were being trained with bamboo spears. Operation Downfall, a planned invasion, would have been the bloodiest campaign in human history, but that's why America dropped the atomic bombs instead. Today, Japan has one of the most advanced militaries in Asia. State-of-the-art destroyers, F-35 stealth fighters, and a defense pact with the United States, meaning any invasion of Japan triggers American military response. But nature is still Japan's best defender. The Pacific Ocean is unforgiving. Typhoons, rough seas, and unpredictable weather have sunk invasion fleets for centuries. The Mongols tried to invade Japan twice in the 1200s. Both times, massive storms, the legendary kamikaze, or divine wine destroyed their fleets. You can't invade what you can't reach, and reaching Japan has always been a nightmare. Country number 4, the United States. The only nation in history to have never been successfully invaded by a foreign power on its mainland. Why? Let's start with the obvious, geography. America is protected by two massive oceans. The Atlantic and Pacific create natural moats thousands of miles wide. Any invading force would need to cross an ocean, establish a beachhead, and then somehow maintain supply lines across that same ocean, all while facing the most powerful military on Earth. The U.S. Navy has 11 aircraft carrier strike groups. That's more carriers than the rest of the world combined. America's military spending exceeds the next 10 countries combined. Invading the United States isn't just difficult, it's logistically impossible for any nation on Earth. But here's the kicker. American civilians own over 400 million firearms. That's more guns than people. A famous quote, often attributed to a Japanese admiral, supposedly said, "You cannot invade America. There would be a rifle behind every blade of grass." Even if an enemy somehow landed troops, they'd face a country the size of Europe with 330 million people, many of whom are armed. The infrastructure alone is staggering. 50 states, multiple time zones, every type of terrain imaginable from deserts to mountains to frozen tundra. And of course, America has the second largest nuclear arsenal on the planet. Any existential threat triggers mutually assured destruction. The United States isn't just hard to invade. For any realistic adversary, it's impossible. Country number 5, finally, North Korea. The Hermit Kingdom, the most militarized society on Earth. North Korea is different from the others on this list. It's not the biggest, the richest, or the most advanced, but it has something unique. Total commitment to war. North Korea is 80% mountains, forested, rugged, and laced with thousands of tunnels and underground bunkers. The entire country has been turned into a fortress. They have 1.2 million active soldiers and 7.7 million reservists in a country of only 26 million people. Nearly 1/3 of the population is part of the military. They've hollowed out mountains to hide aircraft, artillery, and command centers. Here's the nightmare scenario. North Korea has over 10,000 artillery pieces aimed at Seoul, South Korea's capital. A city of 10 million people, just 35 miles from the border. In the opening hours of a war, North Korea could unleash a barrage that would kill hundreds of thousands before any invasion even began. Then there are the nukes. North Korea has between 30 and 60 nuclear warheads. Their missiles can reach Japan, South Korea, and potentially the U.S. mainland. Any invasion risks nuclear retaliation. They also have one of the world's largest stockpiles of chemical weapons. VX nerve agent, mustard gas. Weapons banned by international law, but ready to deploy. And perhaps most terrifying ideology. North Korea has spent 70 years indoctrinating its population. They believe their leader is a god. They've been told since birth that the outside world wants to destroy them. An invasion wouldn't just face soldiers. It would face a fanatical civilian population ready to fight to the death. Invading North Korea wouldn't just be costly. It would be catastrophic. So there you have it. 5 countries that are virtually impossible to invade. Switzerland with its explosive geography and armed population. Russia with its endless space and brutal winters. Japan with its island fortress and military might. The United States with its oceanic moats and overwhelming power. And North Korea with its total militarization and nuclear threat. History has proven that geography, preparation, and willingness to sacrifice can make a nation unconquerable. These 5 countries have turned defense into an art form. Which country do you think has the best defenses? Let us know in the comments. And if you want more geopolitical deep dives like this, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thanks for watching.